gentlemen from Parliament and their own local aldermen had to say. They already knew how they would vote, but it was a thing, was it not? The men from the Parliament coming out to your suburb, to your local hall, and on a night like this. On the dais, a row of uncomfortable folding wooden chairs held the by no means slight figures of the mayor, various councillors and aldermen, one or two of the more important local businessmen, and the Honourable Alasdair Dunlevy, MLA, the only member of the Legislative Assembly to have braved the downpour and made it to the meeting. But one member was better than none, and Mr. Dunlevy cut an impressive figure in a black tailcoat and pinstripe trousers, a tall man in a tall black silk hat, powerfully built, a man barely contained by a tightly buttoned silver and black striped waistcoat and a pale grey ascot tie at his neck. Above the tie was a smooth, clean-shaven face that spurned the whiskers doggedly retained by the more senior members of the Assembly, a face that said it had nothing to hide, that said, "Here is the future, and it has no beard." Alasdair Dunlevy stood at the lectern and surveyed the crowded hall. He knew these men, knew what was in their heads, knew, more importantly, what was in their hearts, understood their fears, their hopes, their prejudices, and this understanding calmed him. It filled him up. It made him powerful. His fingers gripped the lectern's smooth wooden edges, not to steady himself, but as a man does who sees an opportunity and who seizes it with both hands. The mayor, a man whose name Dunlevy had already forgotten, had spoken, trite platitudes and dry clichés for the most part, as had a councillor and one or two of the notable local businessmen. But it was not until Alasdair began his speech that the men sat forward and nodded their heads and shouted their approval, for he had shown them a vision of what their nation might be. "You have heard my reasons, gentlemen, and I will summarise them for you. Federation will remove these absurd custom barriers between the colonies. It will mean a uniform railway gauge and new railways traversing our continent. It will finally open up the interior for settlement. Settlement for Australians. For federation is the only possible way of preserving Australia for the white races. It will engender confidence in British investors. It will mean improved defences. For make no mistake, gentlemen." And here Alasdair paused just long enough to allow each man in the room to lean an inch closer. "Should there be a European war, disunion would mean disaster for Australia." And they all, to a man, liked what they heard. Well, perhaps not to a man. Alasdair spotted the fellow a moment before he spoke. "We cannot trust them. We all know we cannot trust the Victorians." The speaker, a storekeeper or an artisan in shabby Sunday best, jumped to his feet, and a chorus of voices followed him, agreeing or not, and some of the other men now also got excitedly to their feet, and their wives pulled them down again to their seats. Mr. Dunlevy held up his hand, but before he could reply, the heckler, red-faced and sweating despite the cool night, spoke again. "If you believe the Victorians will willingly give up a federal parliament, not once they have got their hands on it, and let us build a brand new capital someplace else, you are a fool. They want Ballarat for the capital. The Premier himself admitted it," called out a man in a bowler hat, standing towards the back of the room. A further chorus of calls followed, and some applause, a fair amount of derision too. But the tenor of the meeting had changed, for the man had a point.